Hey guys, this is Rurouni K95 here. Once again, it is time for a discussion video that has something to do with DVDs and Blu Rays now. And once again, because I'm here to be talking about a video that I'm here to discuss, particularly just in time for lunch though. So, what am I going to do today? Well, today's discussion, we're going to be talking about something that is something that you have never added something before, just to prevent from clutters, as well as lack of shelf space. Well, let's see. Something in those cube shelves. Yeah, like you put the DVDs where you store them in the front and the back. Yeah, because, of course, that's particularly of what I wanted to think about, of how I wanted to come across for this as well. Well, if you have, like, one of those, like, those cube shelves, yeah, I do have one cube shelf. Like, I have them to put them in the front and the back. Let me show you. Looks a lot more different than your average video store or a library. Let's say, for example, like, I have my anime collection, especially this shelf there. This is the main shelf that I have, just to keep them from having too many lack of shelf space, though. Like, especially, like, the front and the back. Okay, so let's take, for example, like, if you're ever going to put a DVD on here, like, you put them in the front and the back. Let's say I can take as an obvious way, for example. Let's see. You're putting a DVD in the back, which is right in front of the back where the DVDs are. Let's take a note, for example. Like, say, like, I have this copy of Men in Black on here. I put it, like, in right here. Yeah. That's the obvious way you could put it right there as well. Because I'm showing you as a little demonstration feel of all sorts as well. Of course, basically, like, if I get more DVDs of anime on Blu Ray, especially for this shelf, which is right behind me, though, this is a perfect way to store them in the back as well. Especially from this one, from all the way up to there, and down to there. Right in the letter I category in the anime collection. So, yeah. This takes up time as well. Just to, like, particularly if you ever wanted to, like, of course, preventing, like, lack of shelf space as well, because, yeah, that could save you much as time if you ever wanted to do this. Especially if you almost have problems with lack of shelf space as well. Especially, you have those demonstrations of putting DVDs, like, in the front and the back. Because I have a feeling that's of how I can do a little demonstration for this on that. Let's take, for example, like, if I put DVDs, like, in the front and the back, though, as well. Let's take, for example, like, you take a DVD of, say, for example, like, I have this copy of Volume 2 of Mad Lax. I put it in between there. Of course, that's how you want to do this as well, particularly. However, I always put them right there, though. However, if you can find one of those little standy things, like, where, like, most of them have those, like, if you have it your proper way, like, let's say, for example, like, I have this copy of G Gundam. You put them right there as well. Hold on. just to prevent having any lack of shelving space, I'll show you what I have as well. Okay, you put them right there, and just so you can see where you can pick a title from there as well. Same goes with manga as well. That's pretty much all. Same goes for movies on DVD and Blu Ray as well. Take a little demonstration for this as well, like especially you're putting a certain anime or movie on DVD, like especially behind your collection, like this as well, because just to save you time and money as well. Of course, you ever want to have to prevent having like lack of shelf space as well, and cluttering in your collection anyways as well, unless particularly, of course, if you have problems of having a problem of lack of shelf space, because it turns out the box sets, you can store box sets in drawers or storage bins or cabinets as well. Or to me though, I just put box sets on top of the bookcases, which it makes it look like a nice, great display as well. If I'm not mistaken though, particularly because as well, and which we'll talk about that for another time in another discussion video about storage, putting DVDs in storages for the most part. We'll talk about that another time. Okay, so here are the biggest things as well. If you have a cube shelf, like the one you have at IKEA, the ones that you got are from IKEA or Target, the cube shelf ones, you could put anime DVDs and Blu Rays right here, like the front, and look, I'm going to show you as well. Especially, you put them on your shelves like this, like the front and the back, just to give you a little time as well, for a little saving time and money for this as well, because of course that's particularly, I'm going to show you a demonstration of that, how you're putting a movie on, or putting a certain DVD, like you're putting it, like the ones you have are in the front, and you can put some more on the back there, just to prevent away from having the problems of lack of shelf space. Let's say, for example, like I have this copy of Blades of Glory on DVD. You put them on there as well. Yeah, because that would help you, save you more quality time for putting movies on there as well. Well, you get the picture, because you know what I mean as well. And I still seem to know for how you're putting DVDs, like especially in the front and back as well, because especially if you have like a custom shelving unit, a custom one with no back cover for the custom made shelf, and you want it like a rectangular way, you want to put it right, the longest lengthy one, from here to there, unless you want to move it down to there, just to make it look like your own little library full of that a certain way in those days as for these parts as well. And I could be all at one take, which this headed down for this way. And you have to do the whole thing with having your collection as well. When it comes to having, I guess you can call that as for the whole most part of that as well, because for having DVDs in front and the back as well, because you can find those little stand things that you want, that you could put in your DVD and Blu Ray collection. You could find like those little stand things like that. Like you could find them at your local Dollar Tree on here. Especially if you ever can find a DVD. Like especially the front and the back as well. Yeah, because those are the optional things of how you could ever want to know for the fact of how I've been having problems of lack of shelving space. But I have a good option of how you're putting DVDs in the front and back on this cube shelf. Like the one that I have was from Target. That's the main shelf right there, what you see behind me, because I'm going to show you how you could do this as well. Especially you're putting it in the front and the back as well. As just so that you know, though, as well, particularly of how it just saves you more time and money without worrying of too many problems of, I would like to say, if you could call that as lack of shelf space. Yeah, one way or the other as well, because that is the whole serious thing about too much space, and there's no more room to put it, though. Especially to those who have anyone who is now doing streaming, especially if you're watching it on streaming services like Netflix or Amazon Prime Video, or Tubi, or you're watching it on streaming ones as well. This is the perfect way of how I have a perfect way of putting some more DVDs like in front and back, especially on this shelf, which is right behind me, where I have more DVDs of anime like there, because I'm showing you as a perfect example of how you're putting it like in the front and back accordingly as well. If I'm not mistaken, though, as well, because this is how it's gotten to the point of how I want to know for all sorts as well, because it just saves you time and money, though, according to the fact for this as well. Although I haven't been doing Netflix yet, well, I do have Tubi, but collecting physical media is the best optional thing. Or I guess I could call it a little both than that as well, if you ask me. As well. Putting some like there from the front and back of your collection, especially when it comes to example like VHS tapes, DVDs, Blu Rays, 4K Ultras, VCDs, on every several occasions as well. Because I still have proof, particularly the back of the shelf, like where I had my anime collection, which is right behind me, where the window is, the white cube shelf one, which is empty on the back. But that saves up for more room for more anime, because I have been thinking about filing books into storage as well. Again, we'll talk about that for another topic as well. Just because I've wanted to save up time for how I can preventing lack of the shelving space problems on your bookcases as well. Which I still have proof that Excuse me. Still have proof on that actually how this has got to me for that as well. And so yeah, because given the fact of how I've been having problems of lack of shelving space units, I do have some room for DVDs in those tower racks. However, I haven't thought of it as well. Those little ways of this for that as well. However, because I do have still figuring out a way of how I'm putting some more like in the front and back, especially for VHS tapes, DVDs, Blu Rays, VCDs, and 4K Ultras. Like I'm gonna show you, for example, like I have my 70s, 80s, and 90s movies, TV series, cartoons section, which is right on this bookcase, which is my Billy bookcase one. This is where I had as well. Accordingly, there, especially like the front and back, which is there. Like, open this up though as well, because there's some more. Like, some more stuff is back there as well. And for the most reason as well, are all of this as well, because, which I could call it, preventing it from clutter as well. Or whatever you want to call that, a clutter problem as well. I must still say for this as well is that I've wanted to figuring out of how this has gotten to the point of, well, you guessed it as well, because I still say for that as well of how I wanted to do something for the fact for this as well. Okay, for those who always have Netflix or Prime Video or Peacock or Tubi or any streaming services out there, this is a perfect video that I'm doing of how I wanted to maintain, of how I could put more DVDs and Blu Rays on every genre in the category, like especially the front and back as well. For example, like whether it's in the genre, like whether it's in world cinema, action, fantasy, horror, comedy, western, sci-fi, anime, cartoons, television series. Depending on the genre category, especially if you have it in front and back of your bookcases, especially in your collection though as well. Probably some Blu-ray titles from home video companies also too, and also some cult classics, indie movies as well also, if I'm not mistaken as well. Probably some adult animated feature films from the 70s and 80s also, especially from the works of Ralph Bakshi and heavy metal, and also specific movies from the 80s like Star Chaser, The Legend of Warren, rock and roll, and heavy metal as well. In case you're wondering as well, accordingly. And probably some Criterion also as well too as well. Whether it's on DVD or Blu-ray also as well. And also every home video title's on Blu-ray as well. Either if it's from Mill Creek Entertainment, Criterion, Shout Factory, Arrow Video, Kino Lorber as Studio Classics as well. If I forgot to mention as well, because this is a little too concerned of how you could put something on like in front and back. Despite that, just to consider, box sets take up lack of shelf space as well, if you ask me, though. Like, especially if you ever have, for this, and also, if you got, like, these floating shelving units, those floating shelves for the wall, though, it's where whether you could put movies on DVD or Blu Ray, everything from, like, every home video companies, or anime on here, from specific home video companies, like, from the out-of-print ones, and older home video releases, like specific ones like from Geneon Entertainment, Anime Go, ADV Films, Central Park Media, those Tokyo Pop, and those are the older home video releases, as well as specific ones from on Blu-ray, also like from Sentai Filmworks, Viz Media, and Discotek Media, and the same goes with specific home video companies from Europe, such as Yamato Video and Dynamic Italia, and Hobby and Work. Those are like home video companies that were released distributed in Italy, and specific home video in the UK and Europe, like Manga Video at UK, which those I think that are released exclusively in Europe, which is in the United Kingdom as well. But however, for the most part as well, there are many obviously of how you can find these cube shelves that are similar, that you can find them, like the ones you have are from Target. Especially you could put them like in front and the back as well, just to keep up, save you time and money, from preventing of lack of shelf space as well. Especially if you ever are done nowadays is streaming, like specific streaming devices like Disney Plus, Hulu, Prime Video, Tubi, Peacock, Xfinity On Demand on Xfinity from Comcast, and Netflix, which those I think they're streaming services as well. It's like video on demand streaming services as well. Especially if you ever have movies on demand as well. To me, as a physical media collector, that I always like to maintain things in shelves, just to prevent lack of shelf space as well. Just to give you little words and heads up for this, I'm doing it for the whole leaps and bounds of this as well, because apparently though, I have no problem of putting something in the front and back, just to keep you prevent of lack of shelving space problems as well. Otherwise, could have filed it into storage as well. That's just pretty simple for that as well. And if you ask me for this as well, is just to give you a little heads up for this as well, because this just gives me to the point out as well, because of how and why you ever been like this, specifically of how you put something like in the front and back. Same goes with manga. You could put some in the front and back of your shelving units, just to prevent lack of shelf space as well. Which I will get to cover that in the near future at one point. If I could get back to do a video, another discussion video for that. We'll talk about that subject for another time. But anyways, because most of this I'm mainly focused on here are mostly DVDs and Blu Rays. Pretty soon I will cover one on manga at one point as well. For the most part as well. So for the most overall, the thing about how you're basically putting DVDs and Blu-rays, like, especially in the front and back of the shelving units, especially just to save you time from preventing problems of lack of shelving space problems, especially too many space in this as well. Just to get your things a little motivative going as well. As for the most part as well, I still say for this is how I wanted to come for the thing for that as well, as given the facts of how you're putting DVDs like in as well as Blu-rays, VHS tapes, VCDs, which they're basically commonly known as video CDs in Asia as well, and 4K Ultra HDs, which those I think they're the new home video releases as well, which they could rival HD DVDs, which as well as VHS tapes, which those I think, because both VHS tapes, Laserdiscs, and what was it? Betamax are the old obsolete formats as well, if I'm not mistaken. Because despite that, 4K Ultras have better quality, though. Yeah, especially if you're ever putting something, which I'm going to show you as a little demonstration as well. Let's take a note for that as well. Okay, so you're putting a DVD right in the front, as well as you have some more on the back as well. Let's take, for example, like I have this DVD set of the Karate Kid collection. Like, you put it, like, in the front, like here. Especially if you have something in the front, and the rest are in the back as well. Especially. Like, that could save you time from having a problem of lack of shelf space as well. Because, of course, that saves you more time for this as well. Because if you ever been, like, having problems of, well, putting some more DVDs and Blu-rays and 4K Ultras on the back could give you more time if you're having problems of lack of shelf space problems as well, if you ask me for this as well. Other than this as well, because this is how it's gotten to the point for this as well. That's the thing, though, as how I can remember for all this as well. If you ask me, for how I'm giving in my little head starters for this of how I wanted to do this as well. But that's just besides the point of how you're putting some DVDs like the front and back, especially if you have it in the shelves as well, just to prevent lack of shelf space as well. As if you want to remember, though, as well. So that's going to be it for my video discussion topic here for today, you guys. Thank you for watching, but before we go, here's all I'm going to say for this one. Well, because this is the first time I wanted to talk about a discussion like this of how I wanted to put some DVDs in front and the back of the shelves just to prevent lack of shelf space as well. For this brand new type of discussion, though, because this is a video for all of those who are doing streaming services, that's why. Because I wanted to do a video like this, that's why. Although, I've been mostly collecting DVDs and Blu-rays, that's why. Hope subscribe for more content. And if you ever been watching the channel, I've been basically getting into the Blu-rays and DVDs, and now I'm just going to start getting into the 4K Ultras and fan commentaries on favorite pilot movies, as well as movies for fan commentaries as well. And other cool stuff that I'm doing. And also, smack the like button if you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments in the comment section below. Let me know if you like as well. And also, if you want to check out my Anime Planet or Analyst, feel free to check them out at your leisure at this point as well. And also, be sure to click on the like button in this video. Be sure to smack the notifications bell button. Be sure to get notified also as well for more latest updates, just to keep you notified. And that's all I have, what I got for today. Wow, this didn't take very long, because I had to do a discussion video like this, that's why. This is RuRoniK95 saying, thank you for watching my video, and I'm glad you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you soon for the next video. Hope you have a great day. Oh, and this is RuRoniK95 signing off, and thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you soon for more videos. Take care. Bye. Oh, and Happy St. Patrick's Day.